Since there is practically fuck all to review from The Force Awakens until the end of the year, I thought I'd kill some time and release Barely Breathing's best and worst of 2015 early. I know it's tradition that I do it around the time of the Oscars because it would be nice to see an awards ceremony that isn't so fucking corrupt that every time the host speaks a field full of puppies are massacred. Besides, the Oscars are in late February this year and I intend to have my focus elsewhere by then. 2015 was not a good year for movies. We had an array of inferior sequels, decent efforts at ending a franchise but ultimately falling short of remembrance, this load of extremely forgettable wastes of time. Admit it, you completely forgot about Jupiter Ascending. However, 3 serviceable movies were made, though all seemed to rely on nostalgia and couldn't really stand up on their own. Spy was alright, I guess. Before I throw 3 movies into a state of elation that not even any cocksucker from the Academy could match, and then throw a different 3 into a world of unwanted anal assault that could only be matched by being suddenly intruded by a convoy of dildos, I'm going to burst a bubble by telling you that Pixels won't be getting a back alley colonoscopy from me. Yes, it was bad but didn't offend me as much as it did my fellow reviewers, mainly because it took something they loved from their youth and dragged it through a shit heap. I don't blame them for hating it, but because I wasn't even born when the source material was released, it didn't impact me the way it did them, hence why it's not making my shortlist. Anyway, Kung Fury is a Swedish martial arts film that pays tribute to martial arts and cop movies from the early 80s, and for a project that was backed on Kickstarter and only managed to collect just over $630, £424 for my fellow Englishmen, the value for money is astounding considering in its 31-minute duration it features a half-man, half-triceratops cop, Thor, Adolf Hitler, a Tyrannosaurus Rex fighting a giant gold robot eagle, the voice of David Hasselhoff, a huge fuck-off robot, and a fuckload more. The whole movie is tastefully terrible and you need to fucking watch it. Ant-Man is by far and away the most refreshing Marvel movie since Guardians of the Galaxy. Its plot is very similar to the first Iron Man film where the business partner of the protege builds a knockoff version of the original suit to try and take over the company and destroy the original founder, which in this case is Michael Douglas's Hank Pym, a former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent slash entomologist slash physicist and the original Ant-Man, now retired due to the toll the subatomic particles transformation took on his body over the years. So through unusual circumstances he trains petty criminal Scott Lang, played by Paul Rudd, to become the new Ant-Man and defeat Yellow Jacket. I loved this film. I liked how, unlike most Avengers movies, the stakes in Ant-Man aren't global, they're domestic. There isn't a giant fight scene that takes part on a floating city, for example. The action is detained in a building, on a children's motherfucking train set, or inside a helicopter, etc. Evangeline Lilly plays Hope Van Dyne, the daughter of Hank Pym, who helps Lang with his training to become the Ant-Man, and of course we all thought, why doesn't she just put the suit on? She's already familiar and skilled with her father's technology and has good relationship with the antagonist, employee-employer. Well, Hank won't cut the umbilical cord yet because he lost his wife in similar fashion, but I found it depressing that Marvel has done practically anything to make sure their female superheroes are kept in the background of the film. I mean, come on, aren't we due a Black Widow movie? Anyway, different story for a different time. My lack of comic book interest is well documented. I hadn't even heard of Ant-Man before this movie, but once again a Marvel film I had no fucking knowledge about has made it into my top 3 of the year. And now for Barely Breathing Reviews 2015 Film of the Year goes to 50 Shades of Grey. I'm kidding, it's Mad Max Fury Road. The plot is about as in-depth and complicated as a tip wank. In a post-apocalyptic wasteland, Max is caught by a load of war boys, the army of Immortan Joe, and take him to his citadel and used as a blood bag to keep one of them alive. Furiosa, one of Joe's ranking officers, is sent to collect gasoline, but when she goes off track, Joe realises that she has taken his wives, used for breeding purposes, and is en route to her homeland to give her and them a better life, and thus begins a very long car chase and easily the most action-packed film of the year. Seriously, this film doesn't fucking slow down. At first I didn't take to this film, but during a second viewing I realised that the beauty of this movie lies within its simplicity. There's no bullshit love story, no subplot, and nothing even remotely complicated about it. It's just these guys want to get away from Immortan Joe. Immortan Joe sends his war boys to get them because he wants to keep fucking his wives, and this guy ends up being caught in the middle of it. Everyone brings their A game for this one. I would say that the heavy lifting is done by Furiosa and the wives. They drive the narrative as well as the plot, and Tom Hardy's Mad Max just happens to tag along. He does a solid job as Max, and at no point did I wish that Mel Gibson had reprised the role. Immortan Joe is fucking glorious in every way, and the war boys don't give a fuck about their well-being. Yes, it's just a 2-hour car chase, but it's not your everyday car chase. The vehicles are fucking brutal, a variety of weapons are mounted all over them. There's spears that explode on contact, people are pole vaulting from vehicle to vehicle, and there's a truck with 4 fuck-off drums attached to the back of it with a dude playing a guitar that randomly shoots fire from its head, so why the fuck wouldn't this be anyone's film of the year? It's fucking awesome and far from mediocre. See, because the guy says mediocre. Anyway, well, now that the pleasantries are out of the way, 3-headed shark attackers a colossal pile of wank that shouldn't exist at all. The plot is a fucking joke. A shark becomes mutated by eating some of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch and has grown 3 heads and is now eating its way through the cast. The shark looks shit, the acting is shit, the writing is shit, the music is shit, and the physics are fucking dog shit. A 3-headed shark after a fuckload of weed, yes I can believe that, but no amount of drugs in the world would make me believe that a huge fuck-off 3-headed shark is capable of submerging itself fin deep when only a few feet away from said shark stands a guy who isn't even deep enough in the water to get his bollocks wet. Not only did did it do that? But from the same position, it managed to jump out of the water at least 25 feet in the air and land back in head fucking first without twatting itself into the waterbed. Those little details really took the realistic qualities from Three-Headed Shark Attack away from me. It stars Danny Trejo. What the fuck is Danny Trejo doing in this? Money? Does he hate himself or does he owe someone a fucking favour? Joining him is Rob Van Oh the fuck why did I agree to do this goddamn it. His name appears in the opening credits and his face appears on the motherfucking movie poster. Yet in the film itself, Stanley, yes that's his name, doesn't show up until nearly 48 minutes into it. The movie is under 90 minutes long for the record. That would be like making a Texas Chainsaw movie and not having Leatherface appear until over halfway through the film, or releasing a post-prequel Star Wars movie and having Luke not show up until the last 45 seconds of the oh wait. Ugh. Fuck this movie. Next. The Gallows. There isn't much else I can say that wasn't said in my review of this ballbag wart of a movie. It epitomises everything wrong with the found footage and supernatural horror genre. A sad excuse of a cliche for a plot. Atrocious acting. Unoriginal death scenes. Cheap and ineffective jump scares and a bullshit twist at the end you've seen a million times before. Fuck this movie and the AIDS-riddled twat it crawled out from. This would have been my worst film of 2015 if it wasn't for Fantastic Four. This film spends so much time on its knees sucking dick that every time it stands up it experiences vertigo. The whole plot is an origin story that could have been covered within the first 3 minutes. 4 scientists and a guy transport themselves into a parallel dimension. Something goes wrong and when they return they've developed superpowers. One of them has turned evil because of it, so the other 4 must bury their relationship with their once close friend and oh my god I fucking can't. Look, the script is bad. The casting decisions were awful. The effects are so shit they wouldn't have looked out of place in a fucking Sharknado movie. The dialogue is a mess. Every note of the score makes me welcome ear cancer. The action is boring and overall it's soulless, lifeless and no passion or love has gone into making this abhorrent fuck you to filmmaking. So that's another year gone. 2016 has a lot of potential to be a great year for film, but at the same time is most likely to be more anticlimactic than cunt-flavoured candy floss.